Hey everyone, welcome back to another online IELTS lesson. Today's lesson will be about suffix. We can basically call this a vocabulary lesson because we're going to look at some root words with different suffixes. So if you're ready, let's begin. First of all, what is a suffix? Suffixes are endings that are added to root words. Suffixes change the meaning or purpose of the word. Here's an example. The word kind is an adjective, and ness, you can see the suffix ness is added to the adjective, and when we add the suffix ness to an adjective, it becomes a noun, and the noun is kindness. Here we have some more suffixes. You can see different suffixes here, and below we have different root words. Now our task is to connect each of these suffixes with the appropriate root word. So let's start dealing with each of these words. Let's start with the word act. The suffix that we need to use for this word is here, and it becomes an action. As you know, act is a verb and action is a noun. Next one is fulfill. Fulfill is also a verb, and the noun form is fulfillment. Next up we have fiction, and the suffix we're going to add to these is here. The word fiction is a noun, and fictional is considered to be an adjective. Next word is settle. Settle is a verb, and when we add the suffix to the word settle, it becomes settlement, and settlement is a noun. Next word is psychologic. Psychologic is an adjective, and we add the suffix to the word psychologic, and it's still considered to be an adjective, psychological. Next word is hero. For the word hero, we normally use the suffix, and it becomes heroic. Hero is a noun, and heroic is an adjective. Now let's move on to the next page. Here we have another task. Let's check the question. What suffixes go with these root words? What do you think? I'll give you a minute to think of an appropriate suffix for each of these root words, and then I'll show you the answers. So if you're ready, let's begin. Alright, the time is up. If you have already decided your own suffix for each of these words, let me show you my answers so that you can compare yours with these ones. So here are the correct answers. Now let's have a look at each of these words. First one was valid, and when we add the suffix to the word, it becomes validity. Valid is an adjective and validity is a noun. Next word here is orphan. Orphan is a noun, and when we add the suffix to the word, it becomes orphanage. Orphanage is still a noun. Next one is accident. Accident is a noun, and when this suffix is added at the end of the word, it becomes an adjective, which is accidental. The next one is member. Member is a noun, and membership is still a noun. Right, good job. Now let's move on to the next page. Here we have another task related to the suffix. Add suffixes to the following words to form adjectives. You may need to make some small spelling changes. So, sometimes when we use suffixes, or when suffixes are added to some words, there is usually a change in spelling. So I also want you, now I'd like you to do this task, and while you're doing it, I want you to pay attention to the spelling changes as well. Just as we did before in the previous activity, I'm going to give you a minute to think of your own answers to each of these words, and then I'll show you the answers. Right, the time is up. Now let's check the answers. So here are the answers. The first word is strategy. Strategy is a noun, and the suffix we added to this word is here, and it became strategic. Strategy is a noun, and the word strategic is an adjective. As you can see, there is a spelling change here, which is the letter Y is being missed in the adjective form. We basically remove the letter Y and use this suffix. Next word is energy. Energy is a noun, and there's also a spelling change there. Here we have the suffix, and the word is energetic. Energetic is an adjective. Next word is democracy. The suffix we added here is this, and it became democratic. Democratic is also an adjective. Next one is habit. Habit, for habit we use this suffix, and the word became habitual. Habitual is also an adjective. Next on is benefit. For benefit, we used this suffix. There's also a spelling change there, and it became beneficial. Beneficial is also an adjective. Next one is influence. For the word influence, we used the suffix and it became influential. Alright, now let's move on to the next page. This time we have another task related to suffixes, but it's a bit different than the previous ones. Let's have a look at these tasks first. Add suffixes to the words below and decide if the words become nouns or adjectives. We have these suffixes right here, so our task right now is to choose the correct suffix for each of these words below. Okay, just like we did earlier in previous activities, I'm going to give you a minute to think of your own answers to each of these words, and then I'll show you the answers. Alright, the time is over. Now let me show you the answers. So here are the correct answers. Now let's take a look at each of them. First one here is courage, and it became courageous here. Courageous is an adjective. Next one is deny. Deny became denial. Denial is a noun. Price became priceless. Priceless is an adjective. Use is a verb and it became useful. Useful is an adjective. Survive is a verb and it became survival. Survival is a noun. Last one is worth. Worth became worthless. Worthless is an adjective. Alright, now let's move on to the next page. On the next page we have another task. This is a reading text which was taken from an actual IELTS reading. Now our job here is to complete the text by adding suffixes to the words in brackets. So here we have different root words in the brackets. Now our job is to use appropriate suffix for each root word. Alright, again I'm going to give you 1 minute to think of your own answers to each of these questions, and then we will have a look at each of them one by one. I'll show you the correct answers. So if you're ready, you can begin. So the time is up. Now we're going to check each of these answers. We're going to basically read the whole text and deal with each of these words. So let's begin. A workforce made up entirely of young people is not necessarily the key to success, and there is a growing awareness among employers of the special contribution that older people can make. Yet, while attitudes in the workplace may have changed, it seems that the advertising industry continues to look the other way. TV advertisements still often show older people in a negative or stereotypical way and tend to feature young users. This, however, makes no sense. Older people usually have a higher income than the young, and it is fairly easy to adjust the image of a product to make it more attractive to them. For example, mobile phones can be presented as a way to maintain friendship across distances, a welcome proposal to older people who often fear loneliness in their later years. Showing more older people using a product not only makes good financial sense, but it can also play a wider role in society in general by challenging age discrimination. So here are all the answers. I hope you've done well using the appropriate suffixes for each of these words. And this is basically the end of our today's lesson. I hope it was useful for you. Keep learning suffixes. As you have seen in this lesson, they are really useful in the reading section in IELTS. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.